Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Real or Real podcast. This is a podcast where we like to tell each other different stories, like different weird stories or true crime or, paranormal stuff. And the thing is that it's either real, as in a real report of something that happened, or it's the fictional storyline to something. So it's up to the listener to figure out which one it is. My name is Bone Dragon, and joining me, as always, is the ever awesome
Pixie Dusted.
Well, that wasn't.
I don't know.
That wasn't. That wasn't totally creepy at all. All right, so.
Feeling weird tonight. Feeling weird.
That's okay. Pixie's got a story for us. So, yeah. Pixie, do we have any trigger warnings to worry about for this episode?
Murder.
Okay.
Manipulation.
Okay.
Possibly.
Is it like the gaslighting type of manipulation or just, strategically not telling the truth type of thing?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
And not exactly kidnapping, but what do you call it? Hostage situation.
Oh,
somewhat.
okay.
Somewhat. Kinda.
Somewhat of a hostage situation.
Somewhat, kinda. Yeah.
All right.
After I just talked about how, let's do lighter stories this
Yeah,
season.
let's do
murder.
Let's do some less heavy. Yeah, now we're doing hostage situations and murder again.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay!
All right. Well, with that all being said, let's go ahead and jump into our story.
Let me tell you a story.
All right, Miss Pixie. Hit me with what you've got.
Here we go. Present day, small town in Mississippi called Brookhaven.
Brookhaven, Mississippi.
Yes.
All right.
Not exactly a rural town, but a small town. Not much there, not much going on. Everything closes up around, 9, 10 o'clock, that kind of town.
So not exactly farmland, but just not to the level of suburban, right?
Exactly. Not a big bustling metropolitan.
All right.
Not a big bustling metropolis.
Gotcha. Okay.
There we go. I promise I can talk.
Are you sure?
I think so. Okay.
Okay.
So that sets the scene. That's where we are. And it is present day. This is an event that happened the last couple years.
Is it a special event? Is it like
possibly?
A fair? Or
No.
is it, like a concert? Or
no, I mean, the tale that I'm going to tell you happened
I was kind of hoping
recently.
for like a, harvest festival.
I want to say it was like 2024 that it happened.
Ooh, wow. So this is very recent.
Very recent. Very recent. So,
okay.
yes. So we will be saying allegedly.
Well, all right. You heard it first. There will be a lot of alleged.
Yes, allegedly. All right. So this is the tale of how a serial killer was caught.
Oh, okay.
So we have a serial killer in this small town of Brookhaven. It's one of those towns where it's like, you've got like the little local sheriff's department is your police force. So like 3-4 people tops.
Okay.
It's not a massive police presence. And so the issue is their crime rate has gone up. And with their crime rate going up and the police not being able to handle it, um, it's proved to be a perfect atmosphere for a serial killer to be able to get away with what they're doing.
Okay.
So we've got a serial killer, and the events of this story, how the serial killer was caught. They were caught by citizens instead of the police. So how they were caught was it happened in a diner, and it was one of those little 24-hour diners. One of those little
Like,
greasy spoons, kind of like Waffle House.
yeah, Waffle
But
House,
it wasn't
or
a Waffle House. It was like just a little mom and pop's owned diner.
what are the knockoff Waffle Houses called? Huddle House.
I think that's
Yeah.
still a franchise.
Yeah, it's still a franchise, but still, I mean, that's.
But yeah,
I just always thought that was kind of funny.
this was just a locally owned little greasy spoon.
Okay.
And it was the only place in the area that they weren't open 24 hours, but they were open until like 1, 2 a.m. It was the only place still open, after 10 o'clock.
Those are the best places to go get hash browns.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what anybody says.
Or a piece of pie.
Oh, God, yes, the
Yeah.
pie. The restaurant could look like it's about to catch fire at any point, and it's probably been there for 100 years and nobody's cleaned it.
And there's a nice layer of grease on the walls.
Yeah, that's why they're called greasy spoons.
But the food is so good.
Man, that food is so good. Oh, God. I would risk salmonella just for a sloppy Joe from one of those
Botulism.
places. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So this is definitely that kind of place.
Okay.
And it's later at night. It's the only place that's open. So with it being late at night and people in this town used to things not being open, it's not that busy, okay? But you are going to have, the 1 or 2 people wandering in because it's what's open.
Yeah, it's the 1 or 2 people that keep the place, keep the lights on in the place, because otherwise you're sitting there wondering, how the hell does that place stay open?
Yeah, and it's that kind of town where everybody knows everybody else and everybody knows everybody's business.
Oh, fun.
And they all went to school together, that kind of thing.
Of course.
So we've got this little diner, and it is well after everything else has closed in the town. And we've got the 3 people that work there on night shift. We've got Benny, who's the cook.
Hey, Benny.
Who is an
I like
ex-con.
Oh, okay. Still,
And-
that's cool. That's cool.
Right. And they've given him a job.
Right.
And then we've got the 2 front of house people are Nova, who is in her senior year of high school. And you've got Harper, who is I want to say the report says she was like about late 20s. So that gives you kind of an idea of the people that are working there.
Right. I mean, these sound like the kind of names that you would give to chimpanzees before you shoot them off to the moon.
Benny, Nova, and Harper.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're not older people, so they're not going to have, they're going to have, names.
Ethel.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Ethel Herman is here to see ya.
So anyway, all right. So all that everybody in the town's been able to talk about is this serial killer and the fact that the police haven't caught them yet because it's a small town. There's not that many people that can be suspects. Why haven't the police caught this serial killer?
Oh, so he's already, whoever this serial killer is, they're already established, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They've this is I think they're at this point in time, this is their 3rd victim.
Okay.
So the police, the case that the police are working on now is the third victim. So at this point, they figured out that it's a serial killer.
Yeah, they're just starting to put together an MO.
Right.
And, putting together that these three victims are connected. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
But the reason that they've figured out that this is a serial killer is that this killer makes a doll of his victim and leaves a Polaroid behind of that doll beside the victim. But we're assuming the police are assuming he keeps the dolls. That's kind of like his trophy.
This has got to be a very expensive hobby.
No, from the looks of the crime scene photos, the dolls were made out of when you're taking an art class and you've got those little wooden figures,
Oh yeah.
opposable wooden figures.
Oh yeah.
They're made out of those.
Yeah, those are still expensive though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like he's, making American Girl dolls for
Okay.
each one of his victims, or like a porcelain doll or whatever,
Well, I mean, not only that, but he's also just able to take Polaroid pictures and just drop them, just leave the Polaroids behind. Bitch, as much as I paid for that cartridge
film.
of Polaroid film, I'm keeping that and I'm leaving the doll.
Well, I don't know how much those are now, because like Polaroids have come back in style over the last few years.
Right. All the more
like it's not
reason
like
for
he's
them
got
to
a
be more
vintage.
expensive.
It's not like he's got a vintage camera and he has to find vintage film for it.
Well, I mean, even because like when I was overseas, I had a
maybe.
Polaroid camera, and even then, the film for Polaroid cameras were ungodly expensive. Which is why I was super excited when they finally came out with digital cameras. I was like, oh, I don't need to buy film ever again. Ugh.
Okay. Well, I mean, somebody Google it. Leave it in the comments. How much is Polaroid film?
How much is Polaroid film anymore?
Anyway, this is how
interactive.
This is how the police figured out that it was a serial killer. He's leaving his calling card. That's his calling card. Is the photo of the doll that he made of the victim. So like these are obviously premeditated, planned. He's not grabbing people at random. He's choosing who he wants the victims to be.
So the killer has had time to stalk the victims, get to know them, make dolls of the victims. Okay.
So apparently this is something that's been going on for months. It's not just like a recent thing.
And not only that, but it's also a procedural thing.
Right. And but it's still the talk of the town. Why hasn't this person been caught?
Right.
Because it's a small town.
It's got to leave a paper trail somewhere.
There has to be, something they can find. Something,
Okay.
So, so at this point, the families of the victims have offered a $250,000 reward for the arrest, for the information that leads to the arrest and capture of this person.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like the Crime Stoppers thing.
Right.
So they've offered this reward. So keep that in mind, because that will be important later on in the story.
You know what I recently found out? Those Crime Stopper rewards and everything, and unless they are given by a specific person who has the money set aside somewhere, like if it's like an organization that's like, we'll pay you so much money for tips on this, they barely, if ever, actually pay that.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
It's a rarity when they actually pay it, because you may be giving them good information and good tips, and you could have solved that, but they will still find any excuse to say that what actually solved the case was good police work or some bull crap like that,
Yeah, which is rude, but whatever. So we've got this serial killer running around. Cops aren't able to figure out who it is. It's been going on for a while. And we're in this diner. You've got a couple people in there and the 3 people that work there. So one of the people that work there, Nova, the young girl, needs to go out to her car to get something out of her car. So she goes out to her car to get something out of her car and happens to look over into the car that's parked beside her car and sees one of those dolls on the back seat in this car.
So this could either be a victim's vehicle or it could be the car is owned by the serial killer.
Yeah. So of course she's freaking out. She goes in, grabs Harper, takes her to the back, and tells her and Benny what she saw in this car. And they're like, well, okay, we need to figure out if this is the killer or what's going on. Because of course, at this point, there's only like 2 people sitting there in the diner. One younger man. Yeah, one younger man who came in that car. They saw him pull up in that car. And then an older guy who's a regular, who's always in there eating. He spends his whole day in there, gets free refills on the coffee. He's just always there.
Okay, so whoever is actually like the guy who drove the car there, he's there.
Yeah, because they saw him get out of the car because it's a diner. The whole front of it is windows, right?
Okay, yeah.
Well, they that there's only 2 people there. They saw him get out of this car and come in and sit down. So they're in the back trying to figure out, okay, well, what should we do about this? Because, what if he's the killer? If that doll's in the backseat, what if he's the killer?
Right.
So they decide that the best course of action is for one of them to go out there and spill coffee on this guy so that he'll get up and go to the bathroom. And another one can take his keys to go out and search his car. Instead of calling the police, they've decided this is the best course of action to suss out if this is the serial killer.
That seems a bit, wow, that's dumb. Because they're sitting there saying, what's the best course of action? And anyone in their right mind is going to go, call the cops?
Exactly.
You're saying,
but also
small town and there's like almost no police force, but at the same time, it's like, let somebody know.
Yeah, exactly. Let's let somebody else come deal with this. But
because if they've established that there is a serial killer in this town, or even if the serial killer doesn't live there, if this is like his hunting ground or whatever, there's going to be an FBI agent either already
at
there.
At this point, you'd think there would
just
be.
Coming in.
At this point, you think there would be, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's a thing that takes more time. Maybe it doesn't happen within a couple months. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know how that works.
But
I don't know the timeline of how that would work. But anyway, they come up with this plan and they decide to go through with it. And it does work out. He does go to the bathroom, and then Benny traps him in the bathroom by holding the door closed because it's just like one hole bathroom,
And called the cops?
No.
Damn it.
One of the other 2 keeps lookout, and then the other one goes out to the car to search the car. And she does search the car, and she finds a body in the trunk.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
so at this point, we have very much established it's time to call the police, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It is time to call the cops.
So she goes back in and tells them it's time to call the police. This is what I found. This is what I found in the car. We need to call the cops.
Okay.
And Benny's like, well, hold on.
Oh,
they're offering a reward. Remember?
Yeah. And how do you think you get that reward?
And if we want that
information and call the cops,
we have to call this number to give them the information, this Crime Stopper number, to give them the information to come here to arrest him so we can get the reward.
Oh, Gotcha.
So
Okay.
instead of calling the police,
They call the Crime Stopper number.
they decide they're going to call the Crime Stopper number. So Benny goes off to do that.
Okay.
And in the meantime, of course, the guy's out of the bathroom, back
disagree
at the
with this
table.
plan by now.
Yeah. So the guy's out of the bathroom, back at the tables, just sitting there at the table, eating his French fries or whatever he ordered. And while that's going on, one more customer comes into the diner, and this is the one of the teachers from the high school that is a current teacher of the youngest girl that works there. What was her name? Nova, and the one that had already graduated, Harper. So like they both know this teacher. So he comes in and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?"
But do they really? Do we really know anyone?
Anyway, so he comes in and he's like,
I'm trying to red herring the.
He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's come in and to get a cup of coffee and sit in the diner and grade papers, which is something that, he doesn't do it often, but he has done in the past. So it's not suspicious. Your red herring is not panning out here.
It's still within the pattern.
It's a thing he does. Yeah, it's a thing he does. So he gets his coffee and goes and sits down, and he notices that like they're acting weird behind the counter and they keep staring at the other guy that's there. In the meantime, the old guy, the one that hangs out there all the time, has got up and left. Finally, he went home for the night. So at this point, no, he's like a 90-year-old man.
Oh, fine. Whatever.
He's an old guy. So at this point, it's just the high school teacher and this younger guy in the diner. So we're down to two customers in there again.
2 customers, and what do you say? 3 employees?
3 employees.
Okay, it's like a bad game of Clue.
So he's watching them being kind of weird and keeps staring at the younger guy, and all of a sudden, this new girl walks in. New girl, next customer. So now there's 3 people in the diner.
Okay.
This new girl walks in, walks straight to the table where the younger guy is, the one they think is the serial killer.
Okay.
And is like, "Oh, hey, are you blah, blah, blah," whatever his name is. And he's like, "Oh, yeah." And then they discuss the fact that like, "Oh, you don't look quite exactly like your picture. Was it an old picture?" So obviously they've met online. They've been talking online, and this is the first time they're meeting up.
Okay.
They're meeting here for dinner. So she comes up to the counter and orders and goes back and sits down and is waiting for her food. In the meantime, Benny comes out and tells them that he needs to talk to him in the back. So they both go to the back, and Benny lets them know that the call got dropped while he was trying to call this reward hotline. And now he has no cell phone service, so he needs to borrow one of their phones. And they both pull out their phones, and neither one of them have cell phone service.
Huh. So it's not just you didn't pay your phone bill, my good buddy Benny.
Right.
It's like somebody's doing something.
On.
Somebody's scrambling. Okay.
Something's going on. Cell phones are getting jammed, apparently.
Ooh. Scramblers are expensive too, man.
So
whoever the serial killer is, he must be rich. He's got some bank.
And of course, the girl out in the new girl that just came in to meet the serial killer for the date is like, asking if anybody else has got service. They're like, they've all suddenly noticed that no one has cell phone service.
No one has cell phone service.
So then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go all the way back in the office and use the landline.
That makes sense.
So he goes to go do that. And they're, the other 2 come back out front, still acting really weird and awkward and trying to slow down on making the girl's order because she comes back up to the counter and tells them it's to go. And so they're like, oh no, is this going to be
we
the
need
next
to
victim?
we need to slow this down.
We need
Yeah.
to stall her.
Take our time.
Right. So they start stalling the order, and Benny shows back up, and apparently the landline's not working.
Oh, okay. So this is something intentional now.
So they have no phone access. None of the cell phones are working. The landline's not working. They're starting to think, oh crap.
He know.
Exactly. What are we going to do now?
Right.
So then their next plan, which is just as brilliant as pour coffee on him, they have decided what they're going to do.
Sneak out through the air vents.
Well, Nova brings up the fact, hey, I can just go get in my car and go to the police station and bring the police here. And then, of course, the other two are like, no. What about the reward?
Oh, for God's sake.
We won't get the reward if you do that. So they come up with this plan.
Are they going to drive to where the reward place is? Or
No. So they've come up with this plan.
We're going to knock him out and carry him there ourselves.
This plan, what they've decided to do now is they're going to take a dessert out to the table to distract them. While they're distracting them, the other girl, the younger girl, is going to clean the table off and try to swipe his car keys so they can keep them there.
Okay. So
which is what they do.
Drug the pie because everybody knows that the pie is so damn good at these places that you're just going to be enthralled in this pie. So yeah, all right. I just want to know if this Scooby-Doo ass,
I know, right?
is going to work.
Doesn't it sound like I'm just telling you an episode of Scooby-Doo?
It does. Well, I mean, it doesn't really. It doesn't fit the Scooby-Doo formula. So,
but I mean, people are dumb when it comes to somebody offering you that much money.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely, they are.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see him doing whatever it takes to be able to get the reward and get this guy caught.
Plus, they're teenagers, right? Because no offense to teenagers, but y'all are a dumb group.
So
y'all
what happens?
Are pretty damn dumb. Anyway,
so what happens is, well, they're young adults and a teenager.
Okay.
So they do this plan. They swipe the keys. The high school teacher notices them swiping the keys. And then guy that they think is a serial killer starts making a big deal out of the fact that his keys are gone and saying that they were probably stolen. And so high school teacher gets up and steps forward and tries to like de-escalate the thing. You know, what's going on? You know, let's all just take a minute and sit down. And potential serial killer guy is just going off.
Red herring number one.
And so like to calm him down, they're like, well, you know, if she cleaned off the table and she accidentally grabbed her keys when she was cleaning off the table, they'd be in the garbage cans in the back. So Benny and potential serial killer guy decide to head to the back to check the garbage cans to see if
because that's a good idea.
To see if the keys are in there. And this is all just because they're trying to stall them enough for somebody to jump in the car and drive to a working phone.
Okay.
So this is all still just a big stall tactic.
Okay.
So in the meantime, while they're back in the back checking to see if the keys are there,
I'm imagining they're like having to run into one door, coming out of another door, and then, you know,
I know, right?
Going into a third door and,
There's funky music playing in the background.
Yeah. It's like beach music and
So while they're looking for the keys, the youngest girl, Nova, her stepdad shows up with her little half sister
Oh, fun.
and drops her off because he wants to go get drunk.
Oh, jeez.
So he's like, you're going to have to watch Millie, your little sister, and she's like, no, not tonight. There's stuff going on. And he's like, I don't care. And he leaves her there.
All right. Sounds like a winner.
And so she puts Millie into the booth with the high school teacher. And it's like, hey, can you keep an eye on her for a second while I go, see what's going on in the back?
Yeah.
And of course, he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Potential serial killer's date is still just like roaming around looking for a phone signal. And all of a sudden, Harper comes out and was like, hey, we need you. And they go back to the back office where Benny has beat up potential serial killer guy and has him tied to a chair.
Oh, no.
So they're back there discussing what they should do and who should go try to find a working phone to call to get the reward for catching potential serial killer guy.
Why? Was there proof? Was he actually the guy?
There's a body in his car.
Well,
there's a body in his probable cause. There's a body in his car.
And there is the doll
in the back
seat and everything. I get that. That's fine. But at the same time, it just, did he attack you first or what's the deal? Or are you just a dumbass who was like, oh my God, I need to react to deal with this situation before we do anything else? Go ahead.
So,
I'm sorry.
while they're in there arguing about what their next step should be, girl who is the date of potential serial killer guy wanders into the back office to figure out what's going on.
And she sees her potential date guy tied up and beat up, and great.
She runs in to see what's going on. They tell her, hey, we think this is a serial killer. She's like, are you guys crazy? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Are you insane?
Even if you have proof, why have you not called the police?
That tracks.
What's going on? And as she's saying this, she trips and hits her head and it knocks her out.
Oh, pardon my language.
So now they're trying to figure out, okay, make sure she's still alive. Nova, the youngest one's like, we've got to call the ambulance. We've got to call the police. We've got to get people here.
You're at that point. You don't have a choice in the matter anymore. It is no longer about getting a reward. It is now about keeping your butt out of jail.
So then the high school teacher with Millie shows up in the doorway and it's like, what's going on?
Right.
What is happening? And so they ask him to check his cell phone. His cell phone's not working. And so Nova, the youngest, the sister of Millie, takes her back out to the dining room while the teacher and Benny go out back to check the phone line. To see, because they're still, because like they've all decided at this point, yes, we need to call the police and we need to call an ambulance.
Okay.
So they leave
and they
Harper
can't do
to
that
guard
if the phones aren't working.
Yeah, they leave Harper to guard the kid that's tied up. And of course, they've told the teacher, hey, we think this is the serial killer. And this is why, and he's like, well, are the police on the way? The police are on the way, right? And they're like, no. And they're like, but you said you found the body earlier in the night. Why didn't you just call the police? And they're like, well, we were calling the
that would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, so that's what happened. And then him and Benny are like out checking the phone line so they can call the police.
Right.
And they leave Harper in there to guard serial killer guy tied up. And they had him gagged, I guess. I don't know. Because apparently, he hasn't been, but I don't know if his gag came out or whatever. But she says that at this point, he's like flipping out and telling her that, he's not a killer, that he stole the car to impress his date, this girl that he never met, and he's not the killer.
No.
And he gets himself untied and lunges.
He stole the car from the actual serial killer.
That's what allegedly.
Okay.
That's what he said.
That's the story he's given.
That's the story he's giving Harper. And so he gets himself untied and lunges at Harper, and she defends herself by grabbing an empty coffee pot, one of those glass coffee pots for the big, double burner machines.
And bashes him across the head with it.
Bashes him across the head with it.
Yeah, I called that one.
She's assuming he's just knocked out, but there's a whole lot of blood.
Oh. Okay.
So there's a possibility that he's gone.
Okay.
So the teacher comes back in and tells them that the phone line has been cut, notices alleged serial killer laying on the floor in a pool of blood.
Right.
And is like, okay, we've got to get the police here. We've got to do something to get the police here. So they decide that they're going to lock the doors and put on the closed sign. And one of them is going to go get in the car and go get the police. Is what's going to happen.
Finally.
So, they go back out to where Millie and Nova are and tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do, and start closing everything down. Nova volunteers to be the one to go get the police because that's what she had wanted to do in the beginning anyway.
Right.
And is going to take Millie with her.
Okay.
As she's getting Millie to gather up her things so that they can go, Millie's box of crayons falls out. She gets down up under the table to get her crayons and notices that the teacher's bag is open.
Oh, no.
And inside the high school teacher's bag
is a doll.
So
okay.
They figure out at this point that, hey, maybe alleged serial killer guy was telling the truth. They also, in his bag, find this little black box with blinking lights on it that kind of looks like a walkie-talkie, and it's a cell phone scrambler.
Yep.
So they turn that off and now have access to a cell phone. Because Nova's out there by herself gathering Millie up to go. The rest of them are like talking in the office what we're going to do about alleged serial killer guy, and is his potential date next victim still alive and all that stuff.
Right.
So at this point, Nova's the only one that knows this. So she goes ahead and calls 911 when she since the cell phone's working again,
which is the smart thing to do.
Yeah, since she's turned that off, and takes Millie out to the parking lot to hide.
Okay.
She goes back in to find Harper to let her know, hey, who we thought was the killer is not the killer, and now we know who the killer is, and you need to get out of here.
I need you to come talk to me real quick so we can suss this out.
When she goes back in to find Harper, she realizes that the teacher is gone.
Oh no.
He's just cut out of there. He is left. And so then when they both go back out front to find Millie,
She's
they
gone
find
too.
no, Millie is still hidden where she was supposed to be hidden,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but the teacher is gone in his car. So like he's gone.
Okay.
Not in the car that he came in, but the one that had been stolen that had the body in it.
Right.
So him and the dolls, other than the one that's still in the diner in his bag and the scrambler that's in his bag. He left his bag in there. But him and the body and that stolen car that was his as well, gone.
Okay.
So the cops finally show up and they recount, the whole story to the cops so they know what's going on. And they find the teacher about a week later, 2 towns over, and are finally able to arrest him and charge him with the murders. And he is, from what I understand, allegedly charged him with it. He is still awaiting trial.
Okay.
So none of that. But like it was just an entire night of chaos when all they should have done was just call the police and say, hey, we think maybe
the guy is here.
You
want to come
out.
pick him up. You should come see what's going on here. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean,
that's how bumbling citizens caught, in air quotes, a serial killer in Mississippi. An alleged serial killer in Mississippi. And I don't know. It doesn't say if any of them were charged with like holding that guy that was innocent against his will. Like all he had done was
imprisonment.
All he had done was stolen a car.
What happened to him?
Or like, killing him. It doesn't say if he died or if it was just a whole lot of blood but either way, no false imprisonment, hostage.
Okay.
Because
false imprisonment. There is that.
Yeah, he hadn't done anything other than
aside from stealing a car. Yeah,
exactly. So, but yeah, that was the chaos at the diner.
All right.
When they should have just let somebody else handle it instead we want the money.
Yeah, that's a story of all kinds of craziness. Yeah. That's weird.
But
all right.
Is it a real story with an A or a real story with an E?
This, I'm telling you right now, this is way too narrative. I'm sorry. It is just, it's too hard to believe that this is anything. It sounds like it was something that was written. It's like a book or something like that. It's way too crazy and it's just far too, normally we're okay with doing things that are kind of out there and, we're like, this is too crazy to be real, but it is. No, this situation very much is, this has to be an E. It has to be.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive about this.
You are correct.
I'm not surprised.
This is the 2025 movie Takeout.
Oh, okay.
On Tubi. You can watch it for free on Tubi right now. That is not the ending. That is not the actual ending of the movie.
Okay.
The account that I just told you all happens within the first 30 minutes of the movie. There's still another 45 minutes to go. And I will not tell you what happens because it was actually a really good movie and everybody should go watch it. You can watch it for free on Tubi. And it was actually really good. The only thing I've spoiled is the twist that the the teacher was the killer. But it is it's listed as a horror movie, but it's more of a light horror or a horror comedy.
It's
There's
more
not
like
a there's not a lot of comedy,
a thriller type
but there
of
is a
film.
little bit. It's more of
Okay.
a oh, I don't know what those kind of movies are called, but like kind of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Gotcha.
It's not
Okay.
quite as comedic, but it's like everything that could go wrong went wrong
It sounds to
in a
me
weird
like a
way.
bit of a YA type movie. You know, like if it was a book, it would be called YA. But
Maybe.
like I'm thinking something more, something kind of akin to Idle Hands.
I don't know though.
You
It does
know?
have a lot of gore.
Okay.
There's a lot of knife play. There is gun violence.
Right.
It is very explicit. The gore is not over the top. It's just, it's accurate to
but
what
it is
what
there.
they're doing. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But it does have quite a few funny moments, and it was just a really fun movie. I recommend everyone go watch it. Once again, it's called Take Out, and it's on Tubi.
Tubi.
It was very good, very
Tubi.
well acted. Special effects were good. The editing was good. It was overall, I was very impressed with it. It was actually a really good movie.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to have to watch it then because that sounds good.
Yeah, I
So,
think you would enjoy it. And like I said, I didn't spoil the whole movie because that was just like the beginning, a little over a fourth of it.
okay.
A whole lot happens in the
All
beginning.
right.
And then you just keep having these moments of like, well, where are they going to go now with this? Where are they going to go now? Because it just seems like, okay, and that's the end. No. Okay, and that's the end. No.
Oh, so it's one of those. Okay.
But it doesn't feel like it has multiple. It doesn't feel like it keeps ending over and over.
It feels like a natural progression of the story.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does. And it has like twists without being twists.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's, I don't know, it's a very, very interesting movie. I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds great.
And I knew that like the story was too detailed. Too many weird little things happening for me to be able to fool you. But it was still an enjoyable story and I wanted to share it.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds really cool. I'll have to check it out. All right, everybody. So that is our story for this week. And yay, I got it right. Yay.
Yay.
Once again, Pixie is recommending that you go watch Takeout on Tubi.
Tubi.
So, all right, cool. Well, if you like stories like that, then why not give us a like and subscription? Because, that would make my life a whole lot more complete. And if you want to give us a little bit more support, then that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You can run over to our store at crowjadesigns.com and take a look at our merch store. We got some cool stuff for you. But yeah. Thank you, Pixie. Thank you for this awesome story that actually sounds pretty cool. I might have to go watch it.
Yes, come watch this movie with me. I'll watch it again. It was good.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right, everybody. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you on the next episode. But until then,
Keep it real.
to be.